see what part they play in this bigger picture that make up every day. Let's talk, let's talk, let's talk to the town. Let's see what kind of people make this world go round. Let's talk, let's talk, let's talk to the town. Come, let's talk to Cluny and see who he's found. Yes, come, let's talk to Cluny and see who he's found.
We're here at the Norm Peters Prospectors Resource Center in Springdale, and it's located in the downstairs of the Springdale Town Hall for anybody who've never been here. And anybody who's interested in some of the rocks and the geology that's going around here is a nice place to visit. We're going to speak to Chad Wells, and he's the project geologist, and we're going to bring him in a little later. And I got him in for the people who's interested, a rock from the Ammerdown, which we'll probably get Chad to mention a little bit about. It's looks like it might include a little bit of gold. Well, we'll get Chad to tell us exactly what's in it a little later. Let's bring Chad in now. I'll lay that rock down. Welcome to the show, Chad.
Hello, Cluny. How are you today?
Well, we come in on you a little bit of abruptly, but you...
Oh, yes. No time to prepare.
Well, that's the best way a lot of times.
I suppose, yeah, for sure.
Now, Chad, Norm Peters Prospectors Resource Room, there had to be a reason for setting that up here in the Springdale area.
Well, it's totally suitable. Norm Peters is recognized throughout the mining community for his significance to the industry, for the fact that Norm, of course, was involved in the primary exploration programs in Buckins in the mid-1900s, whatnot. And his most significant, actually, is that while working for M.J. Boylan, he discovered the Absecon asbestos mine, of course, down in Bayvert Peninsula, which later became a $550 million resource. So it's quite significant, his name. He was quite a gentleman, and like I said, he's been appreciated through the industry. He also found the ornamental stone virginite that we know down also on Bayvert Road, of course, and there's not many prospectors that can claim fame to actually of naming a rock specimen, but Norm has that. And again, like I said, he was a classic gentleman and a very valuable asset to the mining industry, so it only made sense for a place housed in Springdale and a gentleman from Springdale to have the room in his behalf. And it brings a legacy on its own, just talking to the mining community when you're identifying yourself to be affiliated with the Norm Peters Resource Room. Everybody knows what you're talking about, and that's always an advantage.
Now, to get this room set up, there had to be a lot of work put into it. Tell us a little bit about some of the people that was involved in making sure that this room got put here.
Well, basically, how this project was started is a consortium, I'll say, of industry people types. Larry Pilgrim, Bernard Shepard, Ross Burton, and several other peoples from the community and throughout the Emerald Zone, compiled an idea that essentially right now, if you want to do any geological research, anything about mineral exploration, prospectors, you got to go to the Department of Mines and Energy in St. John's. And of course, us central people, that's a 5-6 hour drive, which is very unpractical. And we seen the necessity to have such a facility in central Newfoundland. And like I said, it was initiated, and the monies have been provided by HRDC, Newfoundland Chamber of Mineral Resources, a variety of different sponsors. And essentially, yes, a lot of work did go into it, but it was the insight of these peoples in the industry that seen a need for it, that seen the creation of this room. And fortunately, I was actually in Calgary at the time and working in oil and gas, and when I heard of a great job in mineral exploration promotion back in the hometown Springdale, Newfoundland, I said, why not? So I came back, and it's been a great success, I feel, and things have went really well.
Now, for somebody who've never visited a room like this and is not much into the rocks and the minerals, what can they expect to find in a room here?
Well, it's basically everything. One thing most people don't realize is the diversity of geology in Newfoundland is far to none. We have some of the most diverse and prospective geology anywhere in the world. And the thing is basically what I'm trying to represent here is we have several rock samples and mineral specimens, whatnot, from different mineral prospects, deposits, mines, past producers, all here at the room, just to show people, to make them understand how valuable these commodities are. Of course, we know about our rich copper history, you know, the different copper mining through Notre Dame Bay. We know of our Hammerdown, of course, right now, which is a developing gold project. Hopefully we're going to see that one go. And so essentially, yeah, you can come in here and see any rocks, whether they be representative metallogeny, which would be the mineralization, the gold, the copper, the zinc, the lead, whatnot, or the geology, just simple basalts, which are oceanic rocks, or rhyolites, which are felsic volcanic rocks. We're getting too technical. Basically, whatever you want to see, I got it here. And outside of that, of course, we have all of our geology maps, whatnot, and geology maps are just basically showing you what Newfoundland's all about and the diversity of the geology and how greatly we're located in that geology, because one thing that most people don't realize, the Springdale and Beaver Peninsulas, I'll say, is prospective rocks for gold horizons, copper deposits, zinc deposits, whatnot. You name it, we got it. And the potential out there is far from none. So come here and see me, and I'll give you the basics on it.
Now, before we go any further, what hours are you open here?
Oh, whenever. Essentially, my hours of operation are 9 to 5, but I'm always available. I'm a local, so I'm always available to come in the evenings. I've come in several times with general interest groups in the evenings, pathfinders, that kind of thing, and whatever's available. But essentially, no, 9 to 5, but just a simple call at the office, and say if you're working, you need to come in the evening, it's not a problem. I'm always available to assist any way I can.
Now, if somebody was just watching was interested in going out and doing a bit of searching for rocks, what type of background would they need, or what type of assistance would they need to know what to look for?
Well, that's this is something most geologists out there, if anybody's listening to me, will probably kick me for it, but you don't have to have a lot of expertise or knowledge in geology. Essentially, there's a few significant rock types that are identified by their color, the way they weather on the surface of the earth, whatnot, that indicate mineral potential. And essentially, so like I say, just with a few hours of basics, showing you a few different rocks, whatnot, and giving you some ideas of where to look based on geology maps, whatnot, it's I feel I could take any man or lady and send them into the bush, and they'd have an idea what they're looking for. Now, that's taken away from us geologists, so what do? Well, we're the guys that come in after and try to explain or tell lies about what actually was found there. But no, the thing is it doesn't take a lot of formal knowledge, and it's a fun thing. There's so many people in our local communities here are out moose hunting in the fall, they're fishing in the summer. Why not have your axe in the back of your pickup, or your geo pick, which I could order for you, and if you see an interesting rock, and just crack it open. And if you see some glistening metal there, bring it into me, and I'll set you up.
Now, is there any type of training around this area for the geology buff out there that might be available?
Well, the thing is, of course, in the geology scenario, we have university degree programs at Memorial University, but in our local area, actually, there have been some different prospecting programs over the years held at the local trade school and stuff that Larry Pilgrim and Bernard Shepard did put off for a period of time. And there's been a Stephenville prospecting course and a mineral tech course, and that has been great success over the years and stuff, and especially after the discovery of Voisey's Bay, of course, in '93 by Albert Chislett and Christopher Biskey, two guys who actually did the course, give a lot of recognition to these courses in Stephenville, and you did see a lot. But so far as locally, no, not immediately. But the thing is that that's another thing that we're here for. In the coming months, we're definitely going to be putting out some prospecting courses. And when I say prospecting courses, you're not going to come in and listen to a guy yarn off about geology and get technical and stuff. It's going to be an informal session where I show you guys some rocks and ladies some rocks, and tell you basically what we should be looking for out there. And so, yeah, I'm going to be putting out some general prospecting course, basics of prospecting, probably a 6-hour course, 2 evenings, 3 hours a night, and just give you the basics, map and compass even, like anybody's got any general interest in bush activity. And as long as I can get you in the room here, I'll do the rest with the rocks. I'll get you interested in the rocks, and that's the key. The more people we can get banging on rocks here, the more discoveries we're going to get, the more hammerdowns we're going to get, the more whalesbacks we're going to get, and it'd be nice to see some of those our mainland folk come home and work in our local area, right?
Now, if there was a school group out there that actually wanted to take a tour of this building and along with a tour of some mine, can you make that arrangement for them too?
Oh, for sure, of course. I can get, and I've went around to several local schools and give presentations on the geology and just generals of mineral exploration, prospecting, whatnot. And in the same light, you can come any time to the room, and I can give you the same basic senses on how basically our industry works, and some representative samples of different mine types and whatnot. So far as an actual tour of a mine, it's a bad time of the year, of course, but when the snow's gone and she's all gone to spring, and the program's, the facility is still intact and everything, of course, I'd love to do that. And ultimately, like I said, that's one thing this room is here to represent. Those spin-offs will be all took care of. I'm trying to do so many things as I can to Public awareness, that's our key right now, because there's too many people out there that don't realize the significance of the mining industry to the Emerald Zone, and that is the key. And if I can make youth, everyone aware of that significance, and like I said, we need one person to go out and crack open one rock that's got some significant mineral in it, and we could create hundreds of jobs, and that's why, like, you don't realize it, but mining is so vitally a part of our everyday life. Everything, you know, cars are made of metal, you know, so it's ideal. And the thing is that if I can encourage people to look at rocks, rocks is where it comes from, and that's, like I said, that's our mandate, public awareness, right?
Now let's take a look at some of the things that you got here. Where do you think we should start?
Well, I'd like to show you my our dedication to Norm Peters, which we presented at our grand opening, and it just sums up a bit of Newfoundland geology and the gentleman that the name's named after.
Let's take a look. Room here.
For sure. What you're looking at here exactly is this is a monument that we dedicated to the memory of Norm Peters in recognition of the room. It's housed here at the facility. It was presented to a couple family members in October month. Anyway, what you see here, of course, you see a picture of Norm, but the big significance of our monument here, you see this pyramid of rock, of course. This pyramid is actually made of virginite. And virginite, as I said before, is actually the rock that Norm named. And so it's very significant. And just a bit of Newfoundland geology for you to sum some things up here too, is that, okay, of course, your pyramids of virginite. You come over here, and you actually see our rock hammers, which is the universal symbol of geology, whatnot, exploration. And we have some heads of iron ore from St. George's Bay, the same thing is used in the ballasts of Hibernia. We have some shafts of limestone from the Port-au-Port Peninsula. And the base here that you see, that the actual virginite is mounted on, is what they term black granite. Actually, it's gabbro. It's from the Mount Peyton Intrusive Complex in near Grand Falls. This is actually a producing quarry right now. This is a well sought after stone. And as I said, I think the monument itself sums up some Newfoundland geology, and with Norm's picture on it, it only makes sense, right?
Now you mentioned the granite that's mined in near Grand Falls. I guess this is mainly what we see in our Id stone?
Yes, it is. Indeed it is. There's some huge markets for the actual the gabbro from the Mount Peyton Intrusive Complex. A lot of it's in foreign markets, the Italians, the Germans, whatnot, but a lot of it is local too. But one thing I would like to stick in there, so far as you're talking about ornamental stones, virginite is probably the most widely used ornamental stone for clocks, whatnot in Newfoundland. And again, that's keying in on this gentleman here, Norm Peters, classy man.
Now, where did you say this would be found mostly?
What's this, the virginite?
The virginite.
The virginite actually is a chrome, it's composed mainly of fuchsite, which is a chrome mica alteration mineral. Without getting too technical, it's in ultramafic rocks. So actually, if you go down, like I said, on Beaver Road, by Flatwater Pond specifically, there's actually some ultramafic rocks there that have got this pristine alteration preserved. And here you see the rock. And if, I don't know if you can see it on the camera there any good, but no. Anyway, there's just really, what I was impressed, I'll say something else, this monument too was made by Myers Minerals in Pasadena, Newfoundland, which was a very beautiful job, I think. It captured what he tried to capture. And you can actually see some microfractures here, which is a little fault fracture in geology. And anyway, this is what causes earthquakes, but we don't have no worries about that. But anyway, just something I had to mention, right? From a geologist's point of view, it was quite interesting when I did see it, right?
So you're when you go out there, you're wondering if every time you hit a rock, you're going to create an earthquake?
Oh yeah, them earthquakes. No, not at all.
Now, what are we going to see next?
I think next what we should do is just probably give a basic view of Newfoundland geology. We'll focus in probably on central Newfoundland and look at some rocks and just talk about general activity.
Okay, let's have a look. Looking at a map of the world, why a map of the world?
Well, the significance of Newfoundland, when I tell you again about the diversity of Newfoundland, is the fact is a theory which came out, I believe it was in the 60s or 70s, plate tectonics. I'm not going to try to bore everybody here now, I'm just going to give you a brief overview. Essentially, if you ever looked at the world, it looks like it's a big puzzle. Looks like it all fit together, and in fact it did, if you believe in evolution, of course. Now the thing here is that Newfoundland, which is on the east coast of North America, as we can see it, up right here. This is a geology hammer, by the way. So on the east coast of North America, what makes Newfoundland so diverse is that the west coast of Newfoundland was a part of the Americas. The east coast, so St. John's Avalon Peninsula, was actually a part of Africa. And all central Newfoundland was actually a sea, was an ancient sea, Iapetus. And we were totally, so if you had to be in Springdale here 500 million years ago, you had 100 active volcanoes under 3 miles of water. So it's pretty remarkable, and that's what makes Newfoundland so diverse in its geological terrain, is because of the fact of plate tectonics. And then moving on to Newfoundland.
Let's move over to the Newfoundland map. Is that the reason?
Yeah, well actually the different colors you see, of course, represent different geology in Newfoundland. And as you can see, all these different colors are different geological terrains, we'll call them, different rock types. So as you can see, Newfoundland's got a lot of different rock types. The key, of course, again, I was talking about Newfoundland, of course, when we're talking about the Great Northern Peninsula here, the West Coast, whatnot, was actually a part of, like I said, the Americas. And we see the Avalon was part of Africa in the plate tectonics when it was all one big supercontinent, as I mentioned. All in between was all under the ocean. This was one big sea after this. And that's what's so fabulous about our area. The thing is that for the majority of mineral deposits to form, seawater is a vital component in the actual formation of these deposits. And the thing is that where we were underwater, of course, we have metallurgical perspectives that would suggest that we should have these type of deposits, and we do. Wells back, whatnot, base metal mines, talk about Buckins, we can talk about Billy's Island, we can talk whatever. They all, Rambler mines, Tiltco, they all formed under the sea, and the sea was a vital component of it. So again, like I said, we are in the primo rocks of Newfoundland, volcanic terrains that were under the ocean, and that was the key principle of this. And one thing, without getting into too much, of course, when you look at this here, this is the Bayvert Peninsula, right along here, and you come over here, of course, you see the Springdale Peninsula, and you come on in through this green unit with the Roberts Arm Buckins Belt. And right now, probably these have the most historical, prolific rocks for production, and essentially it was base metal production. But of course, if you come in here on the Springdale Peninsula now, of course, by Kings Point, you know, of course, the Hammerland's on the go. And that's a gold deposit. And but again, the significance of us being under an ocean and in a volcanic terrain is all part of the package. But moving on from there, I think we should just have a quick viewing on central Newfoundland. I'll get at the boring stuff then.
Okay. Let's go to central. I guess
we're focusing in here.
We're focusing in on will we end up in Springdale once?
We might. You never know, right? Anyway, this is just a smaller view, of course, of part of Newfoundland, basically the central volcanic belt in Newfoundland. And I just wanted to really point out really quickly here, of course, you're looking at the Bayvert Peninsula up here, all the multicolors. You're looking at this darker unit here. Most of the Springdale Peninsula would be the Luscious Bight group. You come on over here and you see this lighter green unit, which comes in here, would be the Roberts Arm group. In between here, the yellow, we have the Springdale group. And I don't want to get too complex about these things and stuff, but they're different geological terrains. And the significance of those terrains is they have the potential to represent different mineral deposits. And the thing is I hate to, I'm not trying to insult geologists, whatnot. We're all out there to look at rocks, but it all comes back to the paycheck. And the thing is that we got to find mineral deposits to justify geology. And geology, of course, is important in a lot more aspects. Volcanology, earthquake seismology, whatnot. But the thing is that mineral deposits are why we are so interested in geology, because it's the mineral that comes out of the earth that give us all those things we need. So basically, I think what we should do now is actually focus in on a few different rocks from different parts of specifically central Newfoundland we'll look at, and just give you some eye view on metallurgy.
Let's have a look at some of the most important rocks, the Amerdam rocks.
Of course, these are some Rambler and Little Deer, of course, are past producers here in our central location, and Bull Road's a prospect down in Rampelli's Island. But anyway, the significance of this, of course, is basically what you're looking at here when I say base metals, you're looking at different volcanogenic massive sulfide deposits. And when I say that, you're talking about copper deposits, maybe some zinc, some lead, some copper, some gold. Essentially, so what you're looking at here, of course, is Wellsback ore.
There you go.
Oh, here we are. And essentially, Wellsback ore, there was about 3 million tons of about 1.5% to 2% copper mined over some years at Wellsback. The thing is, in the Luscious Bight group, when I say Wellsback, I should be saying Wellsback, Little Bay, and Little Deer, because they all represent the same type of mineral deposit, which are these copper-rich, mafic-hosted mineral deposits. And essentially, of course, in the Luscious Bight group, you see a lot of activity. There's still companies involved, British Canadian Mines, Canaco, Mutapa, several different prospectors, whatnot, that have been looking for other deposits of this type in these rocks for some years. And there's lots of potential out there. Aside from the Little Deers, we also have some great potential in other parts of central Newfoundland, around our Springdale Bayvert area. And one I'd really like to allude to, a personal favorite of mine, is the Rambler ore. Rambler actually produced some collectively from 4 to 5 different deposits, about 4.5 million tons of high-grade copper, zinc, copper, zinc, gold, and silver. And essentially, what you're looking at here, of course, is mainly just a pyritic rock, very rich in pyrite and chalcopyrite, which would be copper and iron. I'm sure there's some gold and silver, whatnot, associated with this, but you don't actually see it. And the thing is the rock, of course, you look at it, you see lots of metal, but the rock that's preserved here is an altered rock, an altered volcanic rock, and that's when it gets technical. But the thing is the main feature when we're looking for these deposits from a prospector's point of view is, of course, these things, if they're full of metal, when they're on the surface of the earth, they rust. That's the key. If you're ever walking through the bush, any man or lady, and you see a rusty gossinous outcrop, outcrop, when I say outcrop, a cliff, you know, a rock in the ground, whatnot, crack it open. If you see some metal like this here, you could have something. Maybe come in and see me, or Department of Mines representative, whatnot, and maybe we can figure out what we think is going on there.
Now, if somebody comes in to see you, what type of share do they have to give you to help them out?
Oh, it's not like that at all. The thing is I'm bound by confidentiality here, of course. So the thing is anybody comes in and shows me any rocks, I'm here for your interest. That's my job. That's my position. I'm here to serve you guys as much as I can, and to see your claims, whatnot, mineral claims furthered. And for me, in a self-biased point of view, no, I'm not here for any self-gain. It's to help you guys out. And for me, it's just to see, like it's basically, we can find another mine around Springdale, maybe I'll work in that mine.
Down and see if we can find a little bit, possibly some gold that keep people really interested.
Right on. Well, one thing I'll say about Hammerdown, first thing is Hammerdown is a very impressive deposit. It's been known about for possibly 10, 15 years now, and it's in the developing stage, I think everybody feels. There was recently some infill drilling in December month, and I think the results were good. So basically, we're pending an announcement now March 3rd if development's going to go ahead here. The one thing about, you say you want to see some gold, one thing about the Hammerdown deposit in specific, the amount of free gold, well, actually see actual gold you see, is very limited. And unfortunately, in my samples I have here, no, you can't see no free gold. You got to be lucky to get some visible gold from Hammerdown. Because essentially what you have is you have a very pyrite-rich, which pyrite, by the way, is termed fool's gold. It's very ironic to call it fool's gold in this situation because gold very much likes pyrite when it forms. So without getting too complicated again, when the pyrite forms, it precipitates out of a magma solution. The gold, a lot of times, gold with it. So what you see here, you see all this mass of pyrite in actual quartz vein. The quartz vein is very poorly preserved because of the massive content of the pyrite. But the gold is metallurgically tied up in the pyrite, so you don't see it, but it's there. And this stuff runs, of course, the Hammerdown, it varies from spot to spot in actual grade, but overall the grade is about 16 grams per ton. So, which is very significant grade. When you think about Nugget Pond, which is a producer, Nugget Pond's got about 500,000 tons of 10, 12 grams per ton gold. You look at a Hammerdown's got about 600,000 tons of 16 grams per ton average, so 300,000 contained ounces. So quite a lucrative and valuable little deposit there. The thing that's been a problem at Hammerdown for some years is the mine. Actually mining this deposit is problematic because of the way that the mineralization is hosted in the rocks. But through mining expertise and evolutions in geoscience, of course, we're going to see, hopefully we're going to see this baby come out of the ground. And I think we all feel intimately and hope that it does, and personally, I hope it does very much so.
It's going to be great for our area.
Oh, I think so. I think so. The spin-offs is a statistic. The jobs alone to be created, something like this here, I can't put it, let's just say 30 to 50 for a rough figure. But the thing is for every mining job statistics support, you got 3 spin-off jobs. And that's pretty significant to our area. And the thing that I think is most significant is that when you look, and all of a sudden you look at any exploration company who's away looking for gold deposits, or a mining company, and they look at Newfoundland and they see the 2 gold deposits right now producing in Newfoundland are in the Emerald Zone. One's in Snook's Arm, one hypothetically in the future, let's hope, is at Hammerdown. If you were going to come to Newfoundland and do gold exploration, where would you go? Well, you go where there's producing mines. And I think that really gives geological validity to our area. And that really, I feel, is the most significant thing of this. Is the jobs, it's fabulous, but the fact that we can be recognized as a true gold-producing area, it only encourages more exploration, more mine potential. You know, we could be a little mining community like we were in the 60s, and that's what we want to see.
You know, looking around here, I'm looking at a rock back behind you from Nugget Pond. It seems like it's got square pieces of...
Nugget Pond's pretty spectacular ore to visually inspectors.
But no, I'll grab it and put it out in front of you so that you can actually show it. But why the difference in the size of pieces of quartz in this one compared to what you had before?
Well, the thing is, see, of course, is when you're talking about pyrite, and we look at it here in the Hammerdown ore, and we look at it in the Nugget Pond ore. In the Hammerdown ore, it's just that the pyrite is much finer grained, and it's just got to do with the amount of time when the rock actually formed. It cooled. It's like ice cubes kind of thing, you know. It's probably a poor analogy, actually. But basically, it's just got to do with the cooling. How much time it had to cool. If it had lots of time to cool, you're going to get big crystals, the big pyrite crystals. If it had to cool a lot faster, you're going to get small pyrite crystals. In this case, what's so spectacular, of course, about the Nugget Pond, you look at it and you see all these great cubic pyrites. And what's significant about this is everybody probably looks at this and they think that's the ore. Essentially, in a roundabout way, it is, but you don't see no gold at Nugget Pond either. You do, actually, in a particular cross structure in the deposit. But what we're looking at here, no. For the most part, at Nugget Pond, you see these pyrite cubes, which the gold is, again, it's a part of the metal. It's tied up metallurgically in the pyrite, so you don't see it again. But on average, like this particular zone from Nugget Pond would probably run about 8 grams per ton gold, which is pretty significant grade. I think I speak for everybody that knows anything about Nugget Pond when I say that Nugget Pond's been a great success. It was a little deposit that was took and put together very efficiently, and it's quite an economic factor for our zone. And I'm sure for Richmont Mines, I'm sure they're very happy with the production that's went on there. And I think Nugget Pond's in the future. Nugget Pond is just an example of the success of these operations.
We're looking at a little something different here. It's not actually a rock. What have we got in your hand right now?
We're looking at pure 100% massive sulfide here. So essentially you're looking at sulfide ore, 100% metal. And anybody, I'm sure there's people out there looking at this now and saying, I took that out of the ground. Anyway, this is some core from Voisey's Bay. And you always got to mention Voisey's Bay when you talk about Newfoundland, Labrador metallurgy and just mineral prospecting, exploration, because it's a true success story. And it comes right down, like I said, Al and Chris flying in a helicopter one evening, seen a rusty outcrop, and stopped in their helicopter, got out and pounded off some rock, which of course didn't look so good as this, but it was the superficial expression of what became this. If you can imagine what you're seeing here, this metal, 114 meters vertical thickness below a bog, and 32.7 million tons of something. That's probably one of the 8th geological wonders of the world. And what's significant of Voisey's, of course, we have nickel, copper, and cobalt. And it's very significant in the whole system of Newfoundland being recognized for its potential, Newfoundland and Labrador, I should say. The thing is that it's a true success story for the fact that it was 2 prospectors who went in and looked at the right rock, and what came of it was a $4.3 billion asset of the 2nd biggest nickel producer in the world. So if we can find some more Voisey's Bays, now the thing is just for my geological counterparts there, I'll say you're not going to find a Voisey's Bay in our area because, again, like I told you, there's different deposits that are in different types of rocks. We don't have the types of rocks for a Voisey's Bay. But we can have rich deposits as rich as Voisey's Bay. Let's say that, right? There's lots of potential out there. But again, one thing I wanted to say about these prospectors' rooms, specifically the Norm Peters room here, a lot of these are the end result of prospecting being really appreciated in Newfoundland and Labrador for the validity that what comes of it. And Voisey's Bay is a success story of that. If I can get one person in this room that sees a rock that they recognize, can go out and replicate that rock out in the geology that surrounds us and find a mineral deposit, well, that's my job well done. And that's what these prospecting rooms are all about. I want to encourage you guys to prospect and get out there and bang open some rock, because it's not a complicated process, and that's what we're here to do.
Now, we never got into everything here today, and I'm sure that you welcome people to come in and visit you anytime.
Oh, drop by, see me anytime. Like you said, I'm here 9 to 5 regularly, and I'm sure 90% of the evenings, if you drive by the office here, you'll see my pickup outside. Drop on in. You got any questions about rocks, about geology, about staking mineral claims, anything, I'm here for that. And one thing I did want to mention before I do go is there's a lot of people don't understand how simple it is to get involved in this process of staking mineral claims and the success with it. Staking mineral claims, you don't need surveyors, all right? You draw polygons on a map. It'll cost you $10 a claim. And just to let you know, a Voisey's Bay could fit on one mineral claim. So essentially, you're looking at a $10 claim that got a $4.3 billion asset of the company I mentioned. So what I'm saying to you guys is come in, I'll show you how to stake claims. I'll show you the kind of rocks you're supposed to be looking for, and hopefully something comes of it. And I adamantly believe that, and I'm sure my colleagues would, that you're in some of the most prospective rocks in Newfoundland, in our precious emerald zone, we'll say. So let's get it cracking on some.
Thanks very much now, Chad, for letting us come in this afternoon and taking up your time.
Yeah, next time just give me a bit more time, okay?
Okay. Thanks very much now. Hopefully you've enjoyed what we put together for you, and tune in again next week where we'll have another interesting topic for you. See you then, same time, same time.
There are interesting people that live in every town. Around every corner they make this world go round. Let's find someone to talk to and see what part they play in this bigger picture that make up every day. Let's talk, let's talk, let's talk to the town. Let's see what kind of people make this world go round. Let's talk, let's talk.